So you want smokeless, as smokeless as you can get. A 3-stone fire kills a lot of people, so it's technology. So this is addressing all these questions, but it doesn't make biochar. Synchroflow, there's your fire, there's your insulation. So that pipe, the insulation is knocking the heat back into the pipe. So the pipe gets really hot, which makes the air rush in faster. And because it's in a pipe, it directs the air straight into the fire. So there's 2 reasons why it's an efficient hot burn. The air is blowing straight into the heart of the fire, whereas in a wood stove box it's all spread out, or in a stove and the second reason is the insulation makes that pipe suck the air in even faster. Those 2 are the key to a rocket stove working. So now you know even more about rocket stoves. Now what I've done is I've crossed it with something called a manila stove, which I didn't show. I put a feed hopper on, and I've got a little slidey out floor. It's the basics. So take the insulation out, push in sticks of willow through that feed hopper there, or wood chip, whatever. The idea is it's the willow which you've all snapped up, it's nice and dry, and then you light your rocket stove fire. And I've also cut holes in the bottom of that elbow. There's a little gap there, so cut holes in the bottom of the elbow. So you light your fire, and this is now wood chip, not vermiculite, or it's sticks of willow, or it's what you're going to make the charcoal out of. And that fire makes that hot, but it can't catch on fire because there's not enough air. Someone tell me that word. So pyrolysis in there. Pyro, heat, Greek, lysis, it loosens the volatile component of the wood, leaving the carbon structure unburnt, loosens everything, gives it off as smoke. Smoke is the wood gas. Now you've sealed that hatch with a lid, floor's all sealed. The only place that wood gas, the smoke, can go is up through those holes. And it goes straight through the heart of the fire. So you've got your little rocket stove fire. Suddenly now, so there's your little rocket stove, there's a cooking pan. You suddenly now have a mad roaring flame. And it's great fun playing with a mad roaring flame. You've got way more heat than a normal rocket stove, because suddenly you can put on ovens, hot water cylinder and a hot plate. But you can't do all that with a normal rocket stove. You get 3 times the heat. So you not only have 3 times the heat, you slide the floor out and you have a bucket of biochar.
So you're saying you still need the fire in the actual rocket stove?
Yes.
Like you make that as well,
Yeah.
and then
you are combusting that down to ash.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are losing some, but you get a net gain.
Continually feed that.
You do, but you continually feed it, then you suddenly feel the whole thing, and it roars even more. Suddenly gets hotter, and you actually want to feed it for a bit more. And in a stove that size, you burn it for 3 hours, and that is that's actually a beer barrel. I only got meant to use it. But that's your copper tank, your 200 litre tank in your loft. That's a bit smaller. You know you've got a copper tank. And if you've got an immersion heater in, you've got a backup. But that is your header tank up in your loft. So this actually doesn't have a pump, it doesn't need it. There's a coil in there that makes the hot water go up and the cold water come down. You've got a hot tap and a cold tap. That can go to your sinks, your radiators, anywhere. So you have, each time you burn it, a tank of hot water, a hot oven for 3 hours and a hot plate.
How long does the water stay hot for?
In mine, it depends on how big the tank is and how quickly you use it.
On yours?
On mine, it's lukewarm in the morning, but I have like a big radiator in my chalet. I have a big tank of hot water. And it's only, what happens is the hot water is rising to the top in the tank. So I've got a full tank, so that's actually enough for a bath. And then it's cold after, not a really full bath, but you need a bigger tank and a bigger stove. You make it to the size. I live in a tiny wooden hut. I don't live in a big house. No, because that has no coil in it, because it is all stainless steel. If this was a mild steel, it would rust. I'd have to have a coil because there would have to be preservative in there. The plumbing I won't go into. Actually, it's 11:45. Yes, you do need a system so it doesn't explode. So there's actually don't do this without getting it. But you simply, a pipe goes back up to the top. So water expands 9% from freezing to boiling. So from lukewarm to boiling, it's going to expand 4%. This is why we're in trouble with sea level rise. And well, one big reason. So yeah, it will something
You only
will
fill
go
it
otherwise.
3/4 of.
No, you just have an open pipe. But you have plumbing systems. You have what's called a bladder, which basically will expand like that inside. But instead of a bladder, you can have an open pipe going from that back to the top, and as long as it goes higher than anything else, it's fine. It's just safety. Yes, yes, that's the same thing. Yeah.
Is that called a vented system? Is that what they mean?
Yes, yes,
Ish?
yes, yes.
On
I think
a basic
so.
level? Yeah,
I'm not a plumber. I just know enough to not blow my house up. Right, there's the basics of that one. I didn't bring one of those with me because it only came in the van. I brought a T-lad. This is bringing it indoors. This is what I have. That's the same thing with J. Abrahams as a willow expert. J. Abrahams came up with the term tree bog. Tree bog means, great phrase, get the nutrients from your shit and turn it into trees. Capture it, use it, don't flush it into the sea as a waste problem. So no native, indigenous, harmonious culture flushes it into the sea. But tree bogs, turn your poo into trees. Once it's turned into trees, turn the trees into biochar, then put that back into your tree bog. Closed loop systems with biochar stoves. Nutritionally charging the biochar. If you put it in uncharged, it's going to suck the nutrients out of your soil. The biochar is going to get nutritionally activated because you've turned the wood. You now have a massive surface area and you have a strong electrical charge because you've turned the wood into, you've kept back the carbon structure. So a teaspoonful of biochar is a football pitch, a teaspoonful of wood chip is a teaspoon, because that's with activated charcoal is slightly different.
In the compost,
Yeah.
where do you put the biochar?
So that's in layers, that's sandwiching it, that's one way to do it.
In layers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm actually doing two things, the other slightly controversial. So you're using the biochar to lock and hold the nutrients. You're catching the nutrients from that. That compost pile is otherwise 100% labile. Compost fully composts, it goes back into the sky. People think you can build soil with compost, we'll come back to that later. You only build soil through feeding plants, upping photosynthesis and getting root exudates. We'll talk about root exudates because they're more exciting than they sound.
Movement of job people.
That biochar is also, this is my theory, you have what's called adsorption. Adsorption is the electrical charges in the massive surface area locking everything together. And that's where very strong aggregates. That's all known, that's all good, that's all measured. Now, if you're ill, E. coli, bit of charcoal, you eat it, your grandmother tells you to, and it clears the E. coli. It used to be thought that it would adsorb the bugs in your stomach, and you'd shit out the charcoal, and you'd send the E. coli out with it. Ancient remedy, it works. What they now know happens, so a petri dish full of E. coli are communicating across the dish electrically. This is a done experiment. You put a bit of charcoal in that petri dish, communication stops. So that's how the charcoal in your stomach works. They shut up. They didn't know that. So the electrically charged charcoal somehow shuts up the E. coli. Now in your soil, or in your compost, you have rapid decomposing bacteria. We call them opportunists tonight. I bet the same is happening. You put charcoal in there, the opportunists shut up. That's just my theory, but there's a lot of evidence for it. So that is why it's not just the charcoal in this 9% terra preta of the Amazon soil, which is what got me going. 9% charcoal, but the rest of their organic matter is still there. Adsorption is the conventional explanation, but I think that's not enough to account for it. So what I'm doing is I'm stopping my manure pile from all disappearing into the sky. Same goes for green manure. You get labile organic matter, something that's going to compost away, lock it and hold it, then before you use it. And I'm charging up the biochar so it doesn't suck nutrients out of the soil. And another way to charge up the most Harry, horse piss. If you haven't got a horse, piss in buckets of biochar.
What about dog piss and any kind of piss?
Oh, I don't like carnivores. Yeah, maybe. The piss comes out sterile, see. Shit is different. So horse manure is very high grass, so it's very different to human manure. People do use human manure, but it's not my cup of tea.
Do you keep on burned plants?
No. If you have locked it and hold it and you make it slow release, no. If you were to piss on a plant, you're probably going in with way too high a nitrate rush onto the leaves, yes. So it can. So you'd water it down, and people are now watering down pea and using it as a fertiliser. Oh, hang on. Sorry about this. It's my horse. I'm halfway through a workshop. I'll give you a ring back, alright? Okay, I'm doing good. Right, I'll speak later. I've got a whole card in front of me. I've just gone red in the face. It's not really my horse. He's looking after my horse. I kept it on just in case. That's how I'm ringing. Right, if you're pissing on poor quality soil, which most farmers and most growers actually now have, we're on 1 or 2% carbon, that's what I mean by poor, you're going to lose it. If you use this or that, that's pretty much neat biochar. This is down to just a couple of percent at the most. It goes for fine dust from chunks by itself in the soil.
So is it better to pee on your biochar rather than
Yes, pee on your biochar, then activate it, or pee on very good soil, because that exchange capacity, that electrical charge will lock and hold. Pea is actually exact right nutrients and the right balance for plants. It comes out sterile, keep it sterile, don't get diseases from it, it'll pick up disease quick. And biochar, like I said with E. coli, it will stop the multibacteria. So pea on biochar. Then don't pee on soil, don't do anything dangerous, you know, with peeing in buckets and keeping it for 3 weeks, you're going to give yourself an infection. You're not if you pee on biochar. Which that's Harry who you just heard on the phone.
I can't wait to meet Harry!
He's moving actually. Last slide, that's just a few Jerusalem artichokes. It does look, you've seen the winter ones, I just have to say, it does go like a summer garden that you can't believe. Massive production on a small acreage. Because, again, it's overcome the problem of mulch, overcome the problem of cultivation. It's a mulch that stays put, it's a soil amendment that stays put. Stove walk, and then we'll come back to. And what I'll do is I'll show you. Turn that off. I'll show you. I spotted. They've got a pit there. We wander over and look at that. I'll tell you now. You light a fire on the deck from all your brambles, your normal garden bonfire that everybody lights, and the air coming under, it's going to burn down to ash. You dig a pit. Very simple. And you, say, put a pallet over and light a fire on the pallet so it drops into the pit, because it's a bugger lighting a fire in a pit, there's no air. So once it's gone down, it's hot. And then it's called flame capping. Paul Anderson's term again. You always have a flame on that pit. Then the air wants to go down, but it can't get past the flame, because the flame burns and draws the oxygen up. So what's down there doesn't see any air, as long as there's a continuous flame. It's called baby feeding. You're feeding this fire continually small amounts. You don't feed too quick or it won't char all the way through. You don't feed too slow or the flame will go. And soon, after 3 hours, so my pit is the volume of 3 wheelbarrows, and it's for getting rid of gardener's waste and stuff that doesn't go through stoves or anything. The brambles are really nasty. And a few battens to keep it hot. And it's smokeless, because you've always got a flame. So it should be, if you've got smoke, you're doing it wrong. If something's wet or something. So, 3 wheelbarrow volume pit is mine, and a big pile of brash, and it's pretty soon you've got a load of biochar to play with. A whole pit full of biochar. Then you've got to put it out. And you tip a bucket of water on it, it'll catch fire again. It won't catch fire, it'll smoulder away when you're gone. So tip loads more water on than you realise, mix grass cuttings in, put it out properly, then nutritionally charge it. But that's an easy way to make it if you haven't even got yourself a basic cook stove. But get a tea lid for your allotment, then every cup of tea you're making a cup of biochar.
How much are tea lids?
They sell them on eBay. They're coming from Australia. They cost about £100 mark, and then you're going to have to pay customs to open it and check it's not a bomb and possibly take it off you, which is what they did with me, and then you lose your money. So it's infuriating, so I make my own.